Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so let's grab the links. There's Twitch. Here's YouTube. Well, let's do it right here. Okay, so it looks like we had a pretty good move down in the overnight session. So yesterday there was definitely a buyer in the market, but you know, look at his hold on the market. It was very tenuous, and he had to make pushes, let it come back, another push, and then in the overnight session the Europeans just sold it well below this low here. So I would not mind seeing like a trend day down. I think is the thing that we're potentially looking at. But I would much prefer a better entry, and I kind of see here where they might have to take it off a little bit. You know, like here in the next 5 minutes, if they could come up 4 ticks, that would be nice. So yeah, that's where that's at. And then the E-mini is just, you know, E-mini had a good day yesterday, and the overnight is good too. So they're looking good on that front. Ah, and then Bitcoin, where's Bitcoin at? Well, Bitcoin, they recovered a little bit. They're still at a pretty disappointing spot. Okay. Well, and then I think we do have a news release today, don't we? Definitely check on that. Okay, so at 6:30 well, of course it's productivity and labor costs trade balance. So that's some critical news. Okay. So we're just gonna maybe sit here. Okay, that makes sense. Tariff increases could bring us back to 2008 crisis levels, World Bank warns. Yeah, I think market disagrees with you on that one so far. Obviously, if it keeps going, who knows how big these can get, but the numbers that they have right now, no. Numbers that they have right now aren't big enough to make a difference. And they're still negotiating. So I'm not sold on the another crisis is coming yet. There are more jobs than people have work. That's crazy. Okay, well, we got 10 minutes, so I'm gonna eat this food here, and we're just gonna watch it, I think. It's heading down a little bit again. They might not give us a Good opportunity here. I don't know. I don't want to take it in front of the news though. Okay. Well, there's a pretty big iceberg there at 125, but I don't know if that really means anything. It's kind of like we were going with if you were watching the discussion in Discord last night, that probably if only if you had traded at 12 and then we were getting the iceberg, that would probably be more significant than just the iceberg by itself. But both of those are signals that I've seen fail somewhat frequently. So, and given that it's just been kind of slow and we're kind of in the middle, I would not be surprised to see us tick up and then see iceberging on the other side. There you go. Iceberging on the other side. I thought it would be at 13.5, but it was at 13. They ticked up through that pretty quickly, though. How many, let's pull this stuff down so we can see the orders. Okay. So there was 2 big orders in that one that did it. And of course they ticked down, no problem. Vermont will pay you $10,000 to move and work there. Hey. Does it apply to foreigners? To be eligible, applicants must be employed full-time by a business outside of Vermont. Okay, so that's probably not what we want. Okay, well now there was some iceberging at 13 as well. So whoever was buying was willing to pay up for it. Quite a bit of buying when you think about it. Punch on the iceberg, punch on the iceberg, market orders that bought. And of course there's sellers for all that too, but quite a bit positioning right here. So I'm going to mark this as my interest area. And we'll try trading against that. Government, I doubt Italy will leave the EU. I agree with him. At least in the short term. If they're going to do it, it's going to be a while. Okay, so there's the news. 46 versus 49 was the trade deficit. Productivity was 0.4 versus 0.6, which is not good. So based on the numbers, just let me confirm here, because they went through there really quickly. 0.4, productivity was less than expected. Labor costs was more than expected. Trade balance was less than expected. So overall, I would say that that's all negative. We could see a move up, but I'm not familiar with these numbers enough to feel confident just buying 13 here, like I would sometimes on news. And there also doesn't appear to be a huge reaction by the traders, so I don't know. Well, if the deficit is less than expected, that's good for the dollar, right? It means the dollar goes up, that means good for inflation, so they're kind of mixed. Okay, well, they ticked up, and when they ticked down, there was quite a bit of size on the offer. But it did not immediately cause people to go through either. So like this spot right here, I think is really interesting. If you're listening, Tucker, I think that this one was interesting. Well, maybe it's not so much anymore, but for a while there was only about 100 traded into that. And okay, they did take it, you know? Now I think the response would be, well, it's all contextual there, right? But that's why when I only see like 100 trade at something, I'm a little wary about it. Here again, 229 hit 120. It's not just going. Look at how much size is trading in general. It's nothing going through that, which is clearing prices. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, he's saying they traded through, but it only took 700 contracts to trade through. I think that's pretty negative, though. In fact, so this one is hard because I don't, it doesn't feel to me like we're like super trending or anything. But here, The offer's already pulling, so now it's a completely different situation. Offers pulling, so this 110 is probably actually the real like low that they would try and hold. Okay. Well, they're not trading through it quite yet, are they? So you gotta be careful because they could. Not quite sure what they're waiting for. Maybe they want ZB to tick down. Okay, well, there's ZB tick down. No, that's not it. In fact, I think that that's probably more correct. They're waiting for them to hit 20? Or are they waiting for the 5-year? Well, okay. That one took way too long. They might still go do it. I don't know. Tough call. I think probably the context here, I probably shouldn't be trading this spot. It's just a little bit slow for them to be going down and making a new low, don't you think? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't feel like it chased that one. I felt like I had a signal. I felt like I had a potential signal that they were actively hitting 11.5. But it was kind of like it filled awfully quickly, didn't it? Well, it wasn't even that it filled awfully quickly. It was like they hit it, and then we're like, okay, and then it didn't do it. I think what probably I should have just gotten out earlier because it was like, well, this is taking too long, and I'm like sitting here waiting for it to tick up, and then I'm gonna get out. That doesn't make much sense. I should have just Should have just hit out at -1 right away when it was only 1737 and I didn't see orders continuing to hit it. At the moment, though, well, okay, so 3178 traded into 12.5. That's curious. And what are we seeing here? Okay. So here's where I'm not surprised nobody's hitting 13.5. Or that only one is hit 13.5, because if you want to buy, you've got a really good chance of getting filled at 13. It's only until after it's sat here for a little while and they're sure that they're not going to get filled there that they're going to try and take that one. Okay, so here's the second try. Still tepid. Okay. Why are they not clearing that? Right. So here again, that it ticked down. No big deal. I don't think that I can take a short here yet. I still kind of want to short it though. I think that amount trading down at the low says to me that they're going to back up and they're going to come back and take it with a little bit more momentum. Okay, the top of this is 13.5. Okay. So see that? They just took that one all at once. I'm almost tempted to take a buy there, but then I know that that's the range that they were at before, and I think that there might even be some iceberging right here at 14. And the 5-year does appear to be pushing up pretty strongly. There was a lot of stops on that uptick, wasn't there? Really, when I got out of that one, I should have reversed. So now where we're at, I think you could get another tick up, but I'm not sure enough about after that. Maybe buying it here. Okay, so there was an iceberg there as predicted. Yeah. 14.5 is the top. That's like the profile step. Yeah, right now. Would you sell 14? Because only 23 have traded at 14.5. Oh, never mind. Like as soon as I say that, a 500 lot comes through. Yeah, okay. That's how I mean, that's how I feel. Yeah. Yeah. This spot is looking a little better. Mm. I don't know. Well, the thing here is that that was a slightly higher high on the pivot. So I think that they might turn around and then make a higher low. Yeah, to sell like 14.
Block buy.
Nope. You can't predict that one, right? It was like 500 went into 14. 500 went into 14
Block
half.
buy.
Well, geez. And how do you know which way they're going to take it again, other than that the momentum was up, you know? There have definitely been days where where I saw what happened at 14.5 and I would have bought 15. But this still just seems too slow, don't you think? My hit is still down at 11.5. Like they could still totally go back down there. I don't know. Notice here in the 30-year, the cumulative delta, they sold there, and then to buy all the way up here was to equalize the delta. In the area around the 16. Hmm. Hmm. Somebody wants to fight at the 15. If I bought it here, in 145, sorry, 145. Yeah. Doesn't seem like they really want to trade 15 half at the moment, does it? Well, there they are at 14 half. I need to see more than 500 trading into it, though. Yeah. It's probably not a safe spot. Well, ZB definitely ticked more. Well, that was a slightly better ticket, 15. Hmm. That one looked like a lure right there. Still seems sketch to me. I want to put a limit order there. I don't think it's a high probability trade yet. Might get a chance to hit into 14.5. They're kind of teasing it. Okay, so that was significant. Oh. Probably clicked too soon. They hit it in ZF, but they didn't quite clear it. So I just kind of saw it out of the corner of my eye. I think I clicked too soon. I want to see more than 28,287 go into 14.5. Hmm. That's when I should have taken it. Maybe it was an okay click because we did it. When it happened, I saw them trade through it in ZF, and we just didn't see follow through in ZN. But then if I had waited, I might not have caught it. And that ZF was weak, was a good indication. And now this is stacking a little bit, and this is pulling a little bit. Yeah. Now the big question in my mind, if this continues to work out, is are we gonna stop here at 12.5, or are they just gonna go right for the low? Because I still feel like that there's some incentive to try and break the low. Yep. Did we trade the 13? Okay. That's a strong bid, and people aren't buying. That's odd. Okay, so there's a 40. And a 50 lot hit this one. Well, that's awfully curious. Okay. That's actually pulling a little bit now. Oh. So as soon as that bid came off a little bit, they started hitting it. Only 800 orders, but still. Now we've got a back and forth. I think since I've got +1 clicked in, that I can risk watching it, letting it see if it goes. See here, this one's weak. Not really seeing people hit it. This isn't getting as strong as it was before either. Okay, now they tried hitting it. Not a strong bid. Okay, now it's a strong bid. Probably, I think when this right here, this 13 and this 13.5, I think I missed a potential exit. Okay. Wow, look at that. Lure. Hmm. Iceberg here at 14.5. Hmm. Okay, well, here's the E-mini. I don't know. See this plateau right here? Really unusual. It might continue through. Awfully stuck here, aren't we? Hmm. Well, that's some good selling there at 14, but they're fighting it. There's an iceberg. I don't know about taking that price. It's not. It's not. It's a little too high risk. If we were still short from 14.5, that would be great. You notice that we got out at break even, and that's about as high as it went. So I think that that trade that I took in terms of a low risk entry was pretty good. Okay. How long has that 17 been there? Oh, that just got there. Now I feel like I'm chasing. Yep. Immediately 9 go into it. I think that you might see a bunch of buys at 13.5. It did pull. I mean, there was 7K there at one point, and now it's 5. Okay, now there's a 3 there. E-mini is heading higher, by the way. Yeah, I agree. Hot. I need to reset this. Okay. So this is another really good example of what we were talking about, right? because only 149 have sold into 13 so far. But it's like, it doesn't seem to me yet that anybody is really concerned about that, because with these orders showing up and the E-minis going up and all of these other things. So it's kind of like, I think there's going to be a collision there. I think that they're just going to buy through it, or sorry, sell through it. And I don't care. I would have preferred to have sold 14, but okay, now 500 has hit it. But we're really still not seeing volume flood in short. Oh, we're definitely going to get out before it gets to 15.5. Like, if this is going to go, it should just go. They're not going to be hitting into 14.
Block sell.
See? Bum 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 ba-dum. Lots of stops there. Lots of absorption too, though. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, at this point, I think it's maybe almost random, because The sellers definitely sold 6, but I mean, it came up through that awfully fast. I think I want to move this like that. Good. That down tick was really good. Because 13 was after she goes. So now we really want to see this 13 hold. We want to see this 13 hold, and we want to see 12 half go easily. So I want to see this pull. Okay, that there's a little bit of a pull there. But ZF getting an iceberg. Okay. A little better. They're waiting. They're definitely waiting for ZF here. Let's see how this resolves. Oh man. Okay. So that was pretty bad. Nope, yeah. Okay, so now not a big offer. Well, I mean, it thickened up, but I don't know. Okay, so I think what happened was they hit this in ZF, and now they're kind of taking it. So I think it's probably best that I take +1 here. Should have. I'm so slow. Should have taken that way earlier. Okay, they ticked up. This is not gonna fill. Crap. No, I think it's because I'm slow. I think that it's like I see something happen and I know that that was like a bad thing, but it's not like a, oh, I absolutely have to get out right now sort of a thing, you know? And then I sit and I watch it and I think about it for a second, and then I'm like, yeah, no, I definitely do want out. And it's already too late, you know? That's also kind of where getting the right price can really matter because remember we were at, where did I say that the after she goes was at 13? No. Yeah, it was at 13. So we were at 13 and 125. Both of those prices had looked weak, and both of them hadn't had a lot of volume going through. So we can't really predict if it's going to continue or not, you know? And then if they tick through, even then, that's not enough. But the one that triggered me was there was this volume right here in ZF, and they ticked up through it. That was when I needed to get out. Yeah. So it should be faster, for sure. It's okay, though, to take break even on those is okay. John is typing because he knows like that's his favorite trade right there. Well, I would buy 13 half. I'd be willing to buy 14. Okay. Hmm. Okay, not how I would want to get filled. Okay, well, that's nice. The play at this point has to be for new lows if we're going short, right? Why 14.5? Because he's dreaming. Like 14.5 would just be so amazing. Well, that was pretty pathetic offer, pretty pathetic bid. Yeah. I mean, I would have edge right now if I stayed in that, but it's still only 1,300. It doesn't seem to me like they're in any hurry to take this somewhere. That's now 3 scratches in a row. Ones that frankly shouldn't have been scratches, right? MFE of 3 on both. I don't think so. No. Okay. Hmm. Fact. Sure. I really didn't think that that was gonna do that, but it did it. It's like they're really gonna print 4K there. There's no way. Okay, not necessarily what I want to see. Okay. Okay. Now this is looking a lot better. Well, there's your supply right there. I don't remember. I feel like I'm maybe starting to overtrade. Yeah. Boo. Seriously? Did you buy that one? I would, if I was not already long, I would buy that one. Yep. Coffee doesn't do shit for me, dude. Hmm. Hmm? No, we're talking about earlier. No, 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 no. I'm talking about when we saw the orders show up back here. That one, I saw the orders come up. They ticked down. I took 13.5. It sat there for a while. I went through. Then it turned around. Should have taken the profit right there. Am I right? I'm right, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it would have been great if I was short 14.5 or 14. But I just didn't see the setup until it was at 13.5, and the setup was still valid at 13.5, so I'm gonna take it. It's just like you get it, and then the momentum stops right there. You you got to take the profit, and I didn't do it. Same with the yeah. I scratched that short after being like plus. I don't like to say it was +3 because there's no way that I would have gotten filled at +3, but I could have taken +2 for sure. Yeah. And what was the other one? I'm trying to think here. Well, so I've been selling this whole time. 726. Yeah, and this first one, I actually got out too early. So, what do you know? This first one was too early. This, yeah, it's still too rangy, isn't it? And then this one, of course, we know what I said that I should take -1 on that one, but even that one probably wasn't a very good entry because I took something that I should only be taking when there was a momentum, and there really was not momentum. I felt like there was in the moment, but there really wasn't. That one, that one I said oh, I got it out at 26.14, 7.14. Ah, okay. So that one I was again. It went. I probably could have taken profit. That one I don't think I saw as well, but I could still have taken +1 on that one. So it could have taken. So that could have been +1. That could have been +2. That would have been 3. That would have been +1 on the day. Then that one, that was a 13.5, and this one, maybe scratching that one was okay. And this one, I really don't know what I was thinking there. Like, what was I thinking there? I was thinking there's a good chance that it's going to touch 15.5, but I don't remember seeing like a signal to go into it. Yeah. Um, and the one, well, yeah, I was already long before that happened, though, right? But once the refreshing order showed up at 50, no, I think that the refreshing order was at 150. Because I took it long 14.5, yes. So I took it long 14.5. That hadn't happened yet. There was a reversal signal. I didn't get out. And I wrote it all the way down just because I was just like shell shocked at that point, I think. No, I was long way before it showed. Can you get some water? They're gonna go for the low. I'm so pissed. Oh, well, the iceberg at 12.5. I don't know. I was executing around the node the most, I think. What was the 13.5 and 14? I'm doing it right where everybody else is. Jeez. No, they were equally between 14.5 and 13.5. Um, well, I mean, those were break even. I kind of need to get a better handle on what is going to be a lot of volume at a certain price. I think that I was more like, this has been, well, look here, Keith is probably going to say the same thing. It's a slow auctioning back and forth kind of day. And we have big volume printing over a few prices. They're going to go back and forth. And when you finally had enough, they're going to break. Yes. And that's kind of the funny thing, is that I did take a play like, you know, especially this one. Hey, they're probably going to break through this price, and they did. And then they took their profit, and I didn't get out. And then they turned around. So it was like I could see right where they were going to push people off, and they did push people off, and then I didn't get out afterwards, you know? So it was almost like I wasn't even playing the trade right. Boom, boom, boom. But so here, I think there's still a question on the positioning though, because it was like when I said I probably wouldn't be selling 14.5. I think that at least at that particular time, they did go right through 14.5, right? And then we got a signal at 15, and then you could have taken that one. So I wouldn't be sitting somewhere with a limit order on it, but it was. And even then, I'm not sure that I would necessarily be able to get myself to short the 15. I don't know. It's just like so close to the VWAP. I need to look back at when we first came down here, how much had actually printed at these prices. So clearly it's a lot now, but it wasn't at the time. I know that there was a dome there, but I don't know how much it was. Hmm. That's based on the 918 contract. I guess another thing, this just a theory, but we may perhaps just say that there wasn't really enough reward in these to justify taking them. That's another thing that I probably need to start looking at, because it seems like this, oh, I could have gotten +2 happens a lot, doesn't it? And really, ideally, we would want to be getting more than just +2 every trade. Merge non-back adjusted. Yeah. He's thinking the same thing. Okay. Would you take that one long? Probably not, right? No way would I buy here, right? There's too much momentum, right? Well, I don't know if it's actually going to puke. Or if it pukes, so let me restate that. I think there's a really good chance that they trade 11. But are they going to trade beyond that? I don't think we can actually say, can we? So this is just going back to my thought about earlier, is that like, okay, I could hit 11.5 and potentially not even get one, because maybe you don't get filled there. I could go here, I might not get filled, but then that's potentially +1 or +2, right? So like maybe some of the places that I've been taking, the reward isn't justified enough. Like if I had taken it at 13, then I could say that, right? But that's kind of where like if you get a signal and it's a strong enough signal, where you're at on the profile doesn't really matter. But So there's problems with the edge of the range. I'm not saying that they're like bad trades or anything. I'm just saying that the middle of the range and the edge of the range have different problems. If you're at the edge of the range, one, there's a probability that you won't get filled. And two, there's a probability that it's just going to tick right through you. And since you're like right where people are stopping, yeah, you can be like, you get the stops, you get long there, or sorry, we come up here, you get the stops, and then you go short there, and then they decide that that's a continuation place, and they just keep going through it, right? Now today, I think that trade would be okay to take because we've been so range bound, for sure. But you know, on the split side, here I think was a great example where it's like, okay, seems like there's a pretty good probability they're going to go through 11.5, but they haven't yet. In my experience, that's rare though. I don't think that's accurate. I think that recently that has not been the case. For the last probably 3 months or so, that has not been the case. And probably for the next 3 months going forward is probably not the case either. Yeah, it definitely happens more than we've seen. But, oh, that the 110 actually did go bid for a moment now. I mean, look, this is probably going to tick down to 110, right? But it's just like, here's the edge. Here's where people are going to puke. Are you going to take it long there? Because there's a really good chance that they're going to trade to 10 after that. Right? Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't buy it here. Context is better for a quick little run through lows. Well, that's where I'm saying again, and I'm interested to know what you think about this. Is it just seems to me like part of my problem in terms of entry selection is perhaps I'm saying there's a pretty good probability and there's pretty low risk here. And I think that with some of these trades we did, I think that some of these trades prove that, okay? I did get favorable ticks. I had hardly any favorable ticks against me. So I was right. I don't know if that necessarily means it was hyper probability, but I was right. And I didn't risk very much. But I didn't take a profit out of them either. And so perhaps what makes these trades bad is that the reward isn't very high. And on that one, like the 13.5, you could say, yeah, it was absolutely going to go through, but because there's a node right below it, there's a pretty good chance that you're only going to get one tick off of it. Yeah, I often jump in when some big order hits. That's true. I wouldn't even say it's like a safety blanket. I think it's like a conditioned response. Like, I've taken so many profitable trades off of continuations like that. Not just like through December to say mid-March, we definitely saw that kind of stuff. But then I also remember like this time of year last year, them doing things like that, and it just kind of got ingrained into me. Yeah, because the thing that I used to do was I used to how would I do it? Well, I would do a similar to what you're doing right now. As I would say, here's the range right here, and I would wait for them to get up to 150, 155, and I would look for stop orders. And the way that I interpret it as a stop order is that they tick up and there's like 100 or 200 hit it. Those are stops because they're the only way that those orders could be hitting that price that quick, like with the tick, is because they went off on the exchange. So I would see the stops and then I would go the other way. That, or I would see the absorption at the high or the low, and I would fade it. And I used to fade it all the time. And the market got into this mode where it always wanted to run those. Like if you got a stop, it was going to go 4 more ticks, and then maybe it would turn around. Or if there was an iceberg there, they were going to go through it for 2 ticks, and then maybe they would reverse. And that's why I started taking those as continuations, because I would usually get 2 to 4 ticks off of them. And then, well, yeah, this is what I'm saying, is that I would take the reversal and then it would go through me. It would go through me like every time. And so I changed it to, that was when I got like the VWAP thing, and I started saying, okay, like I can't be fading against a strong trend like that. It's a losing game. You know, I don't want to take it. And that's the problem with trading on the edge, is that, you know, when you're taking a short here at 15, you are trading against the momentum, the short-term momentum, you know. Anyways, so I started taking them as she goes, because it was like I would always get +2 to 4 on them. Apparently, I still get +2 on them, interestingly enough. But then a lot of those had potential to go +8, 10, 16. And then it was like that for a long time. And then the trade war stuff happened, is I think the place where it really seemed like it changed. And now it's gone back to that. Now it's gone back to, like you see here, we're going to come down. We're going to push it by 1 to 2 ticks, and then we're going to reverse. We're not getting super, I don't know. The thing that I think is really weird about this is that we've been below the VWAP the whole time. And I think maybe there's been, you know, there's definitely been a change in the market, and it just kind of seems to me like there's more liquidity, and it's just much more likely to have to turn around, you know. Here today, I think another thing was taking them too early. Like I took it, they went to 2 ticks, and then there was a reversal signal right there, and I didn't get out and I didn't reverse. And you probably could reverse, and that would have been a really good trade, right? So tomorrow, which may be very much like today, we'll see. Tomorrow, if we start seeing that, then that's the way that we need to try and play it. I'm also going to be watching really carefully to see if they do break a new low, and not just break a new low, but like significantly so. Like if the 5-year gets to 113.060. Okay? Because it seems to me like what happens is it doesn't move during our trading time, and then after we're done, then it goes. So it's almost like this is no longer the best time to trade because there's just too many people trying to trade it. Or if you're going to trade it during this time, you just got to be taking ticks. I'm sure it goes in cycles. I'm sure that they go through, a period where it's like the areas tend to hold, and then slowly they start to break down, and then it turns into they always go, and then slowly people adjust to that, and then it goes back the other way. I'm sure it goes back and forth, but right now it seems like it's been they tend to turn around a lot, doesn't it? Okay, well, I need to go, so minus 4 today. And I'm not going to say that it was super awful trading until this last one. And that's why I didn't take any more, because that one was definitely like, there was no entry, I managed it poorly, it was a tilt. These ones, I'm not going to say they were awful trades because they were still profitable, right? But I think that we need to increase our, yep. I think that we need to increase our rewards, so later.